across the world to talk about the nuts and bolts of this very important issue, combating climate change. And I'm honored to be on this distinguished panel. And it is really fitting that this is the opening panel to talk about something that sounds a little boring, reporting protocols and inventories, but is absolutely, as has been said, the foundation of how we get to the solution and how we figure out how we reduce those emissions. We've got to understand what our emissions are first before we can have any idea where you start by reducing them. Respected entities saying this is how you measure them, and yes, this is what your carbon emissions profile or inventory are. I wasn't at PG&E in 2003 when the company made that decision, but it was a decision of foresight because people saw that mandatory reporting was on the horizon. People saw that it was the obligation of a utility, which is a large emitter, an obligation to be a leader and to identify the problem and then start to try and figure out some solutions. And so people at PG&E said we're going to be a founding member of the California Climate Action Registry. Invests in carbon reduction projects across the state and eventually, we hope, in Mexico, which is why we were so honored to sign on to the Memorandum of Understanding with the state of California and 6 border states and the Climate Action Registry and PG&E to be able to do some cross-border emissions projects. But our customers are able to offset their energy usage and eventually make it carbon neutral.
What's kind of the current view of these issues at BP, and what's next, do you think?
Sure. Thanks, Diane, and it's great to be in California today. California is very important to BP. It's important to this country and the rest of the world, and I just want to thank the governor and his staff for inviting BP to be a part of this panel today. But we believe, first, that a single mandatory national entity-wide emission registry is at the heart of any program. You can't advance climate focus without knowing what you're focusing on. You have to measure and act on those measurements. Trading. We believe that trading is one of the many market mechanisms that needs to be a part of a program, both at a multi-state and national level. And last, a broad suite of policies to advance technology.
We really are at a very special point in the history of not only this country, but the history of the world, in terms of our ability to change, in terms of our ability to recognize the impact of climate change and greenhouse gases are having on this planet, and our ability to communicate, to bring those changes about is what's embodied in conferences like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your participation in the panel. Thank you for your participation this evening. I'll invite the members here. The Governor Schwarzenegger, and various governors will be signing a MOU in this room in a few minutes that will help MOU relative to forestry, forest deforestation. So I encourage you to stay in the